So with Edge of Eternities finally released and Arena finally working, I'm going to sack all my permanents for an amazing, crazy, janky combo win. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today is a sweet, janky combo deck I hope you'll all enjoy. Firstly, if you do enjoy this content, please like and consider subscribing below. I really do appreciate all the support this channel gets. But enough of that, and on to today's combo. We're basically going to be using Weapons Manufacturing and Biotech Specialist to set up the board and finish them off with an older card. So, Weapons Manufacturing is a sweet new 2-drop from Edge of Eternities that says whenever a non-token artifact you control enters, create a colourless artifact token named Munitions, which has, when this leaves the battlefield, it does 2 damage to any target. Well, that is a lot of text, but we do have another card we're going to use. That's Biotech Specialist. This one says when this creature enters, create a lander token, and when an artifact is sacked, you do 2 damage to your opponent. They're pretty similar cards that work hand in hand, but how do we sack all these artifacts? Well, let me introduce you to Pitiless Carnage, an older card I've featured before. It allows you to sack any number of permanents you control, in our case artifacts, and we'll be hitting them with damage from our specialist and our enchantment. The rest of the deck though are mainly artifacts we all know and love. They create tokens, they sacrifice artifacts, all in the name of this combo. With all of that out of the way, sit back and enjoy the games as we go comboing on day 1 of Edge of Eternities. Day 1, Edge of Eternities on the play. This deck is wild. I've been playing it all afternoon. It's popped off several times, but finally hit record to get some footage of this. So we've got Scene of the Crime, it's an artifact land. It does actually trigger Weapons Manufacturing later in the game. And there's our specialist. Our combo piece. We do also have Carnage in our hand, which is pretty nice. They're going to have to deal with a 3-2 pig at the moment though. And they play Garnet. So our pig, when it dies, it creates a treasure, so more artifact synergies in our deck. There's several ways to kill this creature here. Scene of the Crime is a bit awkward, but I do think it's worth it in this deck. Extruder can deal with the 2-2 and we can hit the opponent for 3. You want to try and hit the opponent as much as possible so that you're not having to do quite so much combo damage at the end. Opponent with a 3-2, not going to be a problem with Torch and the Blade in our hand. So we're not doing too badly here actually. Luckily we do have our specialist. So let me know what combos or what decks you like in Edge of Eternities. I'm pretty much keen to play anything. I've got several combos and jank written down on a piece of paper. So plotting the Carnage there means we get to play it for free later on. It's always worth trying to get that plotted ASAP. Luckily, we are sort of keeping up with our opponent's board. So we get them to 9. Can you see the play here? Because I think this is a pretty funny play. We can play the 2 Tithing Blades. Opponent's thinking, what's going on here? And then next turn, we should be able to just Specialist and Carnage our board to do the damage back to our opponent. Don't forget we've got Scene of the Crime we can sack as well. So opponent with Una, bringing back Bahamut. And yeah, this should be the win. We do have a treasure, so we can double spell here. Drop the Extruder. Opponent is not going to know what's going on here. Drop our specialist. And finally, I get to pop this on camera. We can play this for 0, and we only need to sack artifacts, but it's way more fun to sack everything. We're going to win the game with nothing in our on the battlefield, and we just need to go through these triggers which are automatic. And yeah, opponent definitely didn't see that coming. They had stabilized as well. Nice one. Okay, on the draw, we do have our Weapons Manufacturing, so keen to drop that as quick as possible. Opponent on Dimir, it looks like. Oh, there's our Carnage as well. So yeah, opponent's looking at the Scene of the Crime thinking, I'm not sure what they're up to. It's a card that I would be confused about if my opponent played that. But it is an artifact, so it might have some more synergies in the new set. But high time we play this manufacturing. Want to get it down as soon as possible. Likeness Looter. Okay, they're up to some shenanigans there. Although it looks like they're missing some lands, and that is a Viper in their graveyard. Alright, let's play the tap land, and we'll play our Piggy. So this creates a token, a munitions token. So you can already see, if we just Pitiless Carnage the 2 munition tokens, they're going to do 4 damage themselves. So that's how the deck kind of works. Get the Carnage plotted as soon as possible. Luckily it looks like the opponents missed some land drops though, which is kind of convenient for us because this is such a janky deck. Cookie here creates 2 artifacts, so these are all just going to be used later to sacrifice when we find our Biotech. Now I've played a very similar deck to this in the past. I'll link it at the end of the video. It uses sacking clues to do poison damage. It was a real fun deck to play, and it still kind of works. I loaded it up earlier so I could get the cards for this deck, and it still kind of works there. Feel bad for our opponent though. They don't have any lands, it looks like. Well, there you go. And it's a tap land. Fair enough. Got to be careful that we don't let them in the game too much. Another looter. Alright, well, let's get this Carnage plotted. We do have to tap a creature though. So we have loads of ways to do extra damage in the game with our Extruder and our Tough Cookie. And we are going to create a Golem for next turn. Attack our opponent, and yeah, they'll probably just take this. If they drop a land, they may well stabilize, because their deck is probably a lot more less janky than ours. But our board is pretty nice. We could do with our Biotech. We've already got 4 munitions tokens, so that's 8 damage with our Carnage. So if we can pop some damage onto our opponent, we can just use the Carnage to finish them off, which will be nice. Let me know what you think of this deck. It's out there, that's all I can say. But it's winning its fair share of games, which is pretty nice. Obviously we're going to get run over with the Chocobos, and I got run over by some Goblins earlier, mono black. But those things happen. You got to take these losses just for the few wins, especially with such a combo deck. Okay, opponent is looting with their creature. They do have 4 mana though, and they are in these colours. It would be annoying if they were to counter my Carnage. That would be annoying. Hopefully we can pop some damage onto our opponent, and then we can win from there. So we've got 8 damage in munitions tokens. We just need to get 3 onto our opponent's face. They are blue-black. I'm pretty sure they're going to counter our Carnage. We do get to play a cheap creature here, which is going to give us an extra munitions token. We do have our Cookie for another one. And this should be lethal even without the attack. So like I said, I'm pretty sure they got a counter spell. So we are going to destroy the looter. I really want them to counter this. Okay, well they loot, as is tradition with this card. What you got, opponent? I'm sure they've got something. They're sticking around. Okay, that was a Sphinx in the graveyard. So let's go to attacks here and see what happens. We should have lethal in our second main. I'm sure they've got something though. Yes, they do. Etherize. Okay, well then that is definitely lethal. They are tapped out. We can Carnage here all of our tokens, and that's going to be game over for our opponent. We managed to combo off. We could have also sacrificed our entire board. We have to go through these one by one because that's what the munitions tokens do. Any target. And there we have it. The combo went off pretty nicely. I'm really happy with that one. Alright, on the draw. It's not bad, but I think we can do better. Maybe worse, but I'm not going to mulligan anymore. Let's get rid of a cookie and move on. It is a bit weird saying that. There's also a Piggy Bank in our deck. Lots of random names for cards these days. But opponent with a Boros land and Kellen. Okay. We draw our Fire Magic, which is actually not bad in the meta today. Managed to wipe a few creatures away with that spell. But anyway, opponent played a land, attack with Kellen. Pump mana into it, see what's in their deck, and they can't play it because it's a land. Right, well, we definitely want to kill this if we can. We want to keep our life total as high as possible. Let's just Fire Magic whilst we can. We've also got Torch the Tower open, so we can take out any other threats that they've got. But it looks like the opponent's on a bit of a slower deck. I was a bit scared when they played the Boros land. Well, there's a show off. I mean, I'm going to just try and torch that immediately. So that would suggest... I don't know what that would suggest. Let's get this Carnage plotted. Wow, it's so loud. And a Screaming Nemesis, okay. Well, I'm glad we've got this Tithing Blade. Well, we should play the Manufacturing first, then the Tithing Blade. Get the Nemesis out of the way. Make a Munitions token. Nice. Alright, so we're kind of getting there with our combo. We just need some more cards. Just checking how to craft this. I've never actually looked at that part of the card. Helix to our face, eh? Annoyingly that they've gained life there. Oh, there's a Specialist. That's nice. We'll play our cookie. Make another Munitions token. And our cookie can start to hit the opponent for some damage. So if any of our opponents are playing any new cards, I'll try and get them up on the screen. I don't look at every single card when they get spoiled. I just look at sort of combo pieces and whatever I find on my Twitter timeline. Feel free to follow me on Twitter as well. I just post random stuff on there and all my deck lists go up on there as well. Helix to my face again, eh? Well, I don't care about my life total. I do care about theirs though. And there is a Specialist. Okay, well, I think we're going to need to start doing just some old-fashioned damage. So let's get in there for 6. Haven't got enough to do anymore. I guess we can sacrifice our food if we need to. But we're not actually a million miles away from winning this. Had they not gained so much life, we'd be in a much better situation. I didn't play the Specialist. I just presume the opponent's going to kill it like that. Helix again. So we do have lethal next turn, I think. Maybe we don't. And it's a Verge. Wow, this was so close. We're going to do some more damage to our opponent. They haven't got any more cards left. So we can do, what, 10 damage to them now. And we definitely have lethal next turn if they can just draw a land here. We can play our Specialist, sack the board. We should be good. Oh, Boros Charm. Okay, well, we did alright in that game and I'll take that loss. It was a good loss. On the play with our Tithing Blade tribal deck. crazy opening hand, but I'm not going to complain too much. Get to fail, and it's a Verge. I think we can do better than that. At least we do have our Piggy Bank in our hand. And we'll drop that. And hopefully this can start doing some damage. I kind of like this card. A 3/2 for 2 mana, that gives you a treasure when it dies. I kind of like it. If they play creature pass, oh, Tithing Blades are going to work so well. They do play a Wary Thespian, not a card I've seen outside of Limited. But we can just Tithing Blade that away, attack our opponent for 3. Hopefully they keep doing that. We'll get them down to about 10. Oh my days. That's the 4th Tithing Blade. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I feel bad for my opponent here. Let's hope they stick around. This might just be an old-fashioned win with attacks. Okay, well, they are on Golgari, and that is a Scavenging Ooze, fair enough. I think we'll just continue doing what we're doing. I'm not going to Extruder because they can just eat their Thespian. Undying Malice, okay. I mean, it is what it is. I'm sorry, opponent, but we do have another Tithing Blade in our hand. Let's get this Ooze out of the way. If my opponent had 3 of these Tithing Blades, I would be rather annoyed. But they're down to 14. Infernal Vessel, okay. Oh, and there's our weapons manufacturing, sure. Well, hopefully we can start doing some combo damage now. We've been doing combat damage, combo damage next. Just need our Carnage, our Biotech, and we'll keep attacking. We'll put the pressure on the opponent. If they want to block, fair enough. We get a treasure out of it. But no, they take it. So the Extruder can start making golems. Wardens of the Cycle, hey? Okay, a lot of these opponents' cards I haven't seen for the longest time. It does make me wary though as to what they're doing. And that's just a Stomping Ground for us. Okay, not ideal. I wonder what they would sack. Let's do it. Let's show them we had all 4 copies. So there's other cards you could put in this deck. The ones that you sacrifice an artifact to destroy a creature. That's fair enough if you want to do that. I didn't want to go too much into removal. There's not much space in our deck for cards outside of our combo, so the Golem works quite nicely to sacrifice things. But we've got them down to 6, which is lethal on board for us. They can't really attack, or they have to deal with our board. A Pitiless Carnage would be pretty nice for us. A Biotech would be nice as well. A Tough Cookie isn't the worst. They're going to have to make at least 1 block. So let's just get in there. We've whittled their life totals down. They're going to lose a creature. Well, they're going to lose both creatures. Okay. Okay, well, the Cookie and the Legion Extruder might actually gain us the victory next turn. Let's sacrifice one of our Musician's tokens, do 2 damage to our opponent. Yeah, a bit of a grind this game. Still not sure what we're up against, but I do have footage of our combo going off in about a 35-minute game, but I might somehow edit that into a much shorter game for either this video or another one, because it just went on for so long. But it was a really, really close game. We were both trying to combo off, but we should have lethal here with our attack in here using our Legion Extruder. So yeah, This has gone pretty nicely for me today and I'm really happy with this deck. Just want to thank you for watching. Please give the video a like and subscribe below. Bye.